Ever since March started learning swordplay from Yenqing and Yunli, her voice has been absent on the Express. I wonder how well she's progressing. Where has she been these days?
There you are. I was looking around before you got here. I already looked everywhere, but March 7th is nowhere to be found. Forget it. Let's just assume she successfully skipped class. Actually, she's been quite diligent in her swordplay practice and hasn't taken many breaks lately. I think she deserves a day off. Besides, I used to skip classes even more than her back when I was still learning. If I was in the mood, I could train for 3 days straight. But if I wasn't in the mood, none of my seniors could find me. So, I can understand where she's coming from. Don't make excuses for her. Since you're here, let me treat you to some tasty food. I'm more interested in you today. Let's walk and talk.
You're here! Let me show you a trick!
Alicia told me there's tasty food in Arum Alley. Let's go there.
Dumplings and steamed buns!
A table for two, please.
All right, come on in. What would you like?
Well, we'll have one of everything on the menu.
The entire menu?
Do you think it'll be enough? Oh, don't worry. There are two of us.
Well, then I'll start making a few dishes, and if you need more, just let me know.
Thank you. No, I've thought about it. She deserves a day off. Yeah, I mean, not too much, actually. Grandpa said to never be stingy when it comes to making friends. So, how big is your appetite? Then eat to your heart's content. Well, to be more precise, I'm interested in your sword. Yenqing mentioned you before. He said that you're not to be underestimated, and that your weapon has a unique shape. So, I've always been curious about your sword. how the weight is distributed, what material it's made of, whether it contains any special ingenia, and what kind of sword techniques you use. So, it really is a baseball bat. Grandpa said that a sword doesn't have to be constrained by its shape, so, in a sense, your bat is a sword too. He also said that a weapon mimics its master, so your bat actually reflects your habits and nature, you know? Let me guess. You're someone who doesn't follow the rules, enjoys improvising, and can handle yourself well against tough foes. Am I right? Amazing, right? And I bet you always say something silly like, rules are made to be broken. I've come across so many sword wielders who acted all righteous and moral, but were really just liars. Their swords always told the truth, though. They told me that their wielders were just a bunch of frauds who relied on their divine weapons for everything. I've hunted down hundreds of swords like this so far, and every single one of them has been melted down. Swords are more honest than words. It's much easier to judge a sword than to judge someone's words. So I rarely make mistakes. But just looking at a sword is not enough. Grandpa always says, words and expressions can be deceiving. But in a fight to the death, a sword's movements never lie. The war dance is just around the corner. You'll be participating, right?
Miss Yunli, for talented sword masters like you, the war dance is a perfect opportunity to show off your skills and make a name for yourself. But for people like him, who have already made significant contributions to the Xianzhou, they maybe don't need to prove themselves on the war dance stage. It has been a while, Mr. Nameless.
And you are?
Thank you for your introduction, Mr. Nameless. I'm Shi Kuei, and I work in the Palace of Astrum as the secretary for the Helmmaster. I apologize for interrupting your conversation. I happened to hear you discussing the war dance. And since this person is an old acquaintance, I thought I'd come and say hello. Yes, with the war dance approaching, many guests from afar are pouring in. Mr. Pavo here is one of them. He's from the distant planet Kalevala. Mr. Pavo's planet recently joined the Pan-Cosmic Trade System. He brought his delegation here this time, not only for business, but also to return something that belongs to the Xianzhou.
Miss Shikui, the word gift is perhaps more fitting than return. While it did once belong to the Xianzhou, we faced many tribulations to be able to deliver it here, so it should be considered a gift.
I apologize for my poor choice of words. Mr. Pavo's delegation brought a legendary Xianzhou sword that had been lost for centuries. General Huayan plans to personally thank them at the Palace of Astrum and present the sword as a prize to the champion of the war dance. Mr. Pavo and I were actually on our way there. Since you two were talking so enthusiastically about the war dance, maybe you'd be interested in joining us at the Palace of Astrum?
Nice to meet you both. The journey to the Xianzhou Laofu wasn't an easy one, but the scenery here is worth it. It's completely different from my homeland. Once the formalities at the Palace of Astrum are finished, I'll find a quiet spot on this street and plant a seedling, and then my mission will be complete. The Sword of Heroes will finally be returned to its rightful owners. I couldn't be happier. Oh, you're interested in my home planet? That's great. Your Excellency is welcome to visit us at any time. Even though the trade route just opened, it still might take around 200 system hours to get there from Pier Point. But our planet is really great. Yeah, sure, it's a bit cold, and the food is a bit repetitive, and our houses aren't as fancy as those on Pier Point, but that doesn't matter. We've discovered massive supernium deposits, and we're on the path to prosperity. Oh, you mean the Mieka Kivesa? It's an incredible sword. That weapon helped the legendary heroes of my homeland slay demons, and is highly revered. It also has the power to choose monarchs. All the ancient kings of Kalevala received a sign from the sword, showing they were worthy to rule the land. According to tradition, each monarch would plunge the sword into a stone, and only a hero recognized by the sword could pull it out and ascend to the throne next. Well, those are just legends from the past. No one today has witnessed it firsthand. Oh, it also has the power according to tradition. Well, those are just legends from the past. Well, times have changed, and now that we have a council in place, the idea of a sword crowning a king has become a joke. Besides, it wasn't a native of Kalevala who last pulled out the sword and recognized its connection to the Xianzhou ship. It was a visitor from afar. While the sword holds great historical significance for Kalevala, it doesn't truly belong to our world. The old-timers on council had a heated debate about whether to return the sword. They eventually unanimously agreed to let the Mieka Kivesa return to where it truly belongs. That's the best possible outcome. Wonderful. It's an honor to have so many people witness the sword's homecoming.
Let's head to the Palace of Astrum together. Hmm? I know, right? Thanks to March 7 skipping class, we get to join in on the fun. Grandpa always asks me to go look at swords with him, but he hasn't said anything about this one. It's really weird. But now that we're invited, let's go and check it out.
It's still early. Where to now?
There you are. Come on, let's go to the ceremony together.
Please allow me to offer a sincere compliment, my fair lady. Your beauty is as pure as a snow-white iris. Well, if it isn't my dear friend! Glad to meet you again.
Who is this weirdo? Who is this knight?
I am Argenti, a member of the Knights of Beauty. I was invited as a part of the Kalevala delegation to escort the legendary Mieka Kivesa back to the Xianzhou. May I have the honor of knowing your name?
My name is Yunli.
What a beautiful name! I wonder if you have ever heard the holy name of the pure and flawless Goddess Adrilla.
Oh, you're here, Yunli. Didn't expect you to be so well informed. Well, now that you're here, don't forget your manners.
Manners. Come on. You won't find another granddaughter as polite and well-behaved as me.
Well, just remember this is a very serious ceremony. Sorry for keeping you waiting, Mr. Pavo. Now, let the sword gifting ceremony begin.
Before the ceremony officially commences, I want to express my gratitude to the Knight Argenti. Thank you for enlightening us about the sword's origin and for escorting it here safely so that we may complete this ceremony. On behalf of the Kalevalan delegation, I, Pavel Kalistaya, am here to return the legendary Mieka Kivesa to the Xianzhou Alliance, its rightful homeland.
I'm truly grateful for Kalevala's noble act of returning the sword and for the Knight of Beauty's chivalry. Now, as we gather here on the Xianzhou Luofu, I officially welcome the sword back to its homeland. Mieka Kivesa. It's a fitting name for a sword with such a legendary past. I still remember the name engraved on this sword the day it was forged. Gu Yin. It was forged by Han Guang, a craftsman from the Zhu Ming's Pyrojaya Forge.
Wait, Hangguang?
Although its blade is worn and cracked, its essence remains as resilient as the Xianzhou Cloud Knights. All it needs is some repairs and polishing by the skilled craftsmen of the Artisanship Commission to regain its former glory. I've decided to entrust this sword, Gu Yin, to the Luofu Artisanship Commission for restoration. Furthermore, it will serve as the prize for the champion of the Luofu War Dance. This sword will be wielded against abominations to protect our homeland and live up to the mission of the Kalevalan delegation that returned it from so far away.
Thank you, General. It is an honor for Kalevala.
Now, esteemed knight and delegation members, please head to the Artisanship Commission, where...
No! This sword was forged by Hongguang.
Yunli! These esteemed guests have brought back your father's last work. Where are your manners?
Oh, I didn't realize this sword was actually forged by your father. Returning it to its rightful owner is,
Grandpa, give me that cursed sword right now! I'll melt away the remnants of that man's curse once and for all!
Don't be rude, Yunli. Apologize to our esteemed guests from afar.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for making a scene. But I have to melt down this cursed sword. I won't let it fall into anyone else's hands.
Yunli, please, go for now. This is exactly why I didn't want Yunli to know about this. I didn't want to create trouble, but trouble found its way here anyway. Perhaps it really is divine intervention. Could you, please, keep an eye on Yunli for me? That is a tall order, but I'm counting on you. I apologize for the unfortunate interruption. Let us move on with the ceremony.
Unless I'm mistaken, Yunli should be around here somewhere.
That's a hefty battleship there.
Did Grandpa send you to look for me? I bet he did. Really? Thank you. Just so you know, I'm here just waiting for the perfect moment to snatch that sword. And once I have it, I'll melt it down before anyone can react. Don't even think about stopping me. No one can stop me. Grandpa sent you here. Surely he doesn't want you to help me. Have you heard of cursed swords? That sword is one. You've clearly heard a lot of folk tales. But that's not the kind of cursed sword I'm talking about. A cursed sword lets anyone, even a complete novice, wield it with insane skill. Just by holding the hilt, even the weakest rookie can brandish it with incredible speed and strength. I'm not joking around. And I'm not making up some crazy story. While a cursed sword grants instant abilities to its wielder, it comes at a cost. It's like continuously adding fuel to the forge. With each swing, the sword drains the wielder's blood and essence. Day by day, the fuel will run out, leaving nothing but an empty husk. Soon enough, it will no longer be a person wielding a sword, but a mindless, killing machine, consumed by bloodlust and murderous thoughts. Oh, so you're familiar with Heliobi? That makes this much easier to explain. There was a lunatic swordsmith who infused metal blades with Heliobi, as he was obsessed with turning weapons into living things. And this is how cursed swords were made. I know, I shouldn't have caused a scene at the sword gifting ceremony. But I've thought this through. If I don't make a fuss now, that cursed sword will cause a whole lot more trouble. So it's better if it's me causing the trouble. By the way, aren't they supposed to be taking the sword to the Artisanship Commission for repairs? Why haven't they come out yet? Any ideas? Looks like they're not going to show up here. I'll just head straight to the Artisanship Commission. It doesn't matter why Grandpa chose that sword. I won't let it fall into anyone else's hands. I'll track down every single sword he forged and melt them down one after another. Just like I've been doing all these years. I have to go now.
Is she planning to sneak into the Artisanship Commission and steal that sword? Maybe I should keep an eye on her. The Artisanship Commission is so big. Where could she be?
Just a while ago, a girl came up to me, all fierce and demanding directions. She said she's a member of the Artisanship Commission. Do you know her?
No idea who she is. If she really works here, how can she not know her way around?
Oh, I see. That explains it then.
Explains what? It explains nothing at all.
She said something like, I'm a member of the Artisanship Commission. Where do you keep your precious stuff? I got scared and pointed her toward Master Gongshu's warehouse, where he stores his arumatons.
Wait, why did you give her directions? What if she's planning to steal something?
Where else? Like I said, she was headed straight for the warehouse, where all the valuable arumatons are.
Yeah, that place is filled with Master Gongshu's precious arumatons. I bet they'll give her a hard time.
The security there is tight. I hope that little girl is okay.
What are you doing here? Look, if I get into trouble, it's my problem. I don't want to drag you into it. Fine. Let's smash these metal cans first. Then we can talk.
Lower your
fun.
Again?
You chose the wrong end.
Another journey destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
I'm on guard.
Free will, or was it fate? On the still waters of oblivion.
Can I have fun this time?
Receive divinity.
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
That was the last of them. Thank you for helping me out. This place is heavily guarded. But there's nothing but arumatons. Where is the arsenal? Seems like not even those craftsmen know where the arsenal is. At this rate, we won't find anything. And Grandpa might take me away before I can do anything. You're not really here to help me. You're here to stop me, right? No. It's not. Grandpa made a promise to the delegation, and going back on his word would tarnish his reputation and make things difficult for the Luofu. But leaving that cursed sword here will also make things difficult for the Luofu. So all things considered, the best outcome is for me to melt that sword down and take all the blame. You probably think I'm being impulsive and unreasonable, right? No, really. Do I come across that way? Well, I guess I can't deny it. Seems like you've met a lot of people who don't tell you the whole story. Look. I owe you an explanation. But this isn't the best place to talk. We need to find somewhere else. Let me be clear, though. I'm still pretty riled up. This is just a temporary break. I already told you about Guyan. The sword that was returned during the ceremony. It's a cursed sword, with a heliobus inside. And Hongguang, the swordsmith who forged it, is my father. I rarely mention his name to anyone other than Grandpa. Maybe, like you said, I've been avoiding having to talk about him. But as long as my mission to hunt down cursed swords continues, it's impossible to avoid the topic forever. For some reason, I feel like I can open up to you. Honestly, I don't remember much about him. All I know is that the Pyrogyre Forge used to be a bustling place, with people from all over coming to get one of his swords. They called him the greatest master craftsman since Yingxing. I didn't catch all the details, but I do remember seeing him forge those amazing swords, while the visitors watched with smiles on their faces. I used to believe that craftsmen brought happiness to others. The swords crafted by the Pyrogyre Forge are famed across the stars. They possess exceptional sharpness and invincibility. With these legendary weapons, even ordinary people can become skilled warriors, capable of overcoming the most formidable opponents. But then, he became obsessed with becoming a famed swordsmith, and started crossing all sorts of lines. He forged cursed swords that should never exist. And all those people who desired those twisted swords started flooding into the palace. However, just like Grandpa said, those who excel with the sword will eventually suffer by it. The palace was overrun with visitors from afar. Some left empty-handed. Others got swords that didn't fulfill their desires. And some even resorted to stealing. And in the midst of all the chaos my father created, he ended up being stabbed by one of the swords he forged. It was so sudden and unexpected. Everything went silent for a moment. All I could hear was the sound of bones breaking and blood pouring out. I was frozen in place, unable to move. It was only when my mother pushed me away from the deadly swing of the cursed sword that I managed to escape. I don't remember much after that, except for the pounding of my heart and the sound of my own gasps of breath. I could hear the smiths in the Pyrogyre Forge shouting, "Run away, Yunli!" And the screams of agony. My tears wouldn't stop. And I couldn't see anything. I kept gasping for air until I collapsed in a pool of blood. If General Huayan hadn't arrived in time, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you now. After that, General Huayan took me in and treated me like his own granddaughter. To me, he is 100 times better than my sinful father. He taught me forging and swordsmanship. Han Guang paid for his sins, but his troubled legacy must not go unchecked. According to the records, he forged a total of 1,382 Heliobus cursed swords, and 182 of them had unique designs. When I joined the Pyrogyre Forge for training, I made a vow to hunt down all those cursed swords. So far, I found 312 of them, and Guyan will be my 313th. Like all the other cursed swords, I'll separate it from the Heliobus. Then, I'll melt it down and make it part of the Blade of Forged Remnants. I've said my piece now. Even though it'll be tough for Grandpa, I still have to melt down the sword. So, you're saying, even though Grandpa knew it was a cursed sword, he still chose it to be a prize because he thought it wouldn't cause any trouble? No. No matter how I think about it, something is definitely off. Grandpa didn't tell me anything about the ceremony. He must be hiding something. Besides, after our argument today, you want me to go back and talk to him now? No way. At least not today. Maybe tomorrow. Somehow, after talking to you, I feel like I've cooled off a bit. Well, I'll have an honest conversation with Grandpa tomorrow. And I won't take any action against Guyan. Until he gives me his reasons. Yeah. I shouldn't have done that in a public place. Anyway, thank you. We'll catch up tomorrow.
I should go back to the Palace of Astrum and tell General Huaiyan what happened at the Artisanship Commission.
My granddaughter didn't cause any trouble, did she, young man? Sorry for all this trouble. Yunli told you quite a bit. Now it's time for this old man to tell my side of the story. Hongguang was my beloved disciple. A rare genius not seen in the Pyrogyre Forge since Yingxing. However, talent can sometimes be a curse. He had an unusual fervor for forging, and he dreamed of forging a sword with self-awareness that surpassed that of humans. He believed it would make warriors invincible without any training. According to him, while weapons of mass destruction like Zhu-Ming flames and alchemical arrows can destroy many enemies, true victory lies with soldiers who fearlessly fight, ready to lay their lives on the line. Usually, Xianzhou swordsmiths infuse a basic level of awareness into their swords to make them easier to wield. But even then, soldiers need to experience countless battles to overcome fear and sharpen their instincts. So, by infusing Heliobi into swords, he managed to forge weapons that could grant their wielders strength and valor, and even make decisions for them. However, weapons are different from regular tools. They are meant to kill, plain and simple. After countless battles, all the anger, fear, and bloodlust are soaked up by the Heliobi within the swords. The soldiers wielding them not only gain strength, but they also become consumed by the malice, turning them into puppets possessed by the swords. No matter how noble Hongguang's intentions were, those weapons, soaked in blood, turned into cursed swords eventually. Later, Outworlders got wind of what he was doing and encouraged him to keep forging cursed swords. They came up with all sorts of reasons, from taking back their kingdoms to slaying demons, and you know what happened next. That massacre took her parents' lives, and the lives of many craftsmen in the Pyrogyre Forge. Yunli managed to survive, but she couldn't escape the horrors of that day. Yes, I don't want her to spend her whole life trapped under her father's shadow. She doesn't deserve to carry the weight of his mistakes. Despite her vow to hunt down and wipe out all cursed swords, fulfilling that vow requires immense effort. Traversing the starry seas in search of the swords is like finding a needle in a haystack. And to reclaim those swords, she has to duel the bloodthirsty wielders, teetering on the edge of life and death. She has taken back over 300 cursed swords, and has suffered the same number of fatal wounds. I took her in to give her a chance at a normal childhood, not to send her on a sword-hunting journey. Even if she manages to melt down all the cursed swords one day, what will she do with her life after? Hu Yin is indeed one of the cursed swords forged by Hongguang. Very few swordsmiths could use Heliobi as forging material, and Hongguang was one of them. His attempt came at a terrible cost. I thought this sword could be an opportunity. I wanted to tell her that her father wasn't all evil, that even the man she resents so much managed to forge a true sword of heroes. I also wanted to find a chance to tell her about the history and origin of this sword, but not during the ceremony. As you saw, it wasn't a good time. I've instructed the Artisanship Commission to keep the sword safe in the arsenal. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask the people involved. Since my granddaughter mentioned talking to me tomorrow, I'll be waiting for her. By the way, you watched over her for quite some time. You must be exhausted, aren't you? I'll be counting on you then.
Time to go back and find that class-skipping March 7th. Time to go back and find that class-skipping March 7th.
I'll be waiting till we make it the day to celebrate. I'll be waiting till we make it. Oh.
All right. Everyone is here. It's time for questioning.
Yunli, I'm sure you understand why the official called you here, right?
Yeah? But I didn't steal the sword.
Now is not the time to use your reputation like that. If we don't recover the sword, we will be breaking our promise to the Lawfu and betraying the delegation. We're counting on you to find the truth, Official Daha.
Yes. It's my duty to thoroughly investigate the case. Even though Yunli is firm in her words, you can't just rely on her testimony.
After everything, the sword still got stolen. Ugh, they should have given it to me from the beginning.
In this case of Gu Yun's theft, everyone involved seems suspicious to some extent. Miss Yunli is the main suspect. First, during the sword gifting ceremony, Yunli openly expressed her intention to steal the sword. She even mentioned it multiple times. After the ceremony, she broke into the Artisanship Commission and destroyed Arumatons in an attempt to get the sword. Am I right?
That's true.
The Realm Keeping Commission inspected the arsenal where Gu Yun was stored, and there were no signs of forced entry through the doors or windows. The only possible entrance or exit was a small window gap, just a few inches wide.
If March 7th were here, she'd probably jinx it and accidentally reveal who the thief was.
The box containing Gu Yun was opened and the sword went missing. But none of the other swords in the room were touched. Which means...
Yeah, I don't think it was stolen on a whim.
Exactly. The suspect had a clear motive and took only Gu Yun. So, besides the ceremony participants, only the delegation members had access to the sword. In that case, why would they return it to the Xianzhou in the first place? That makes sense. The delegation, led by the Knight of Beauty, delivered the sword to the Artisanship Commission. The craftsmen who received it testified that they didn't take anything from the arsenal. Master Gongshu checked the work records, and I questioned all the craftsmen and apprentices who were on shift at the time. But I didn't find any suspicious individuals. Argenti? Oh, that Knight of Beauty. He was with the delegation when they handed over the sword to the Artisanship Commission. You might not know, but he's the one who recognized the sword's origin on Kalevala and escorted it back to the Cienjo. In other words, he's the one who made it possible.
And pink waving.
So, he wouldn't have gone through all that trouble to bring it to the Law Fu if he wanted to keep the sword for himself, right? So, did you steal it? Then stop joking around.
I can prove that he came to me after leaving the Artisanship Commission, so he couldn't have stolen the sword.
To put it simply, not everyone who's seen the sword has been to the Artisanship Commission, and not everyone who might want the sword has seen it. So, the only remaining suspect is Miss Yunli.
Hello.
Fair enough.
So,
I didn't steal the sword.
well, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. If you want to prove me wrong, you'd better come up with some solid evidence.
Let me gather my thoughts. I need to help Yunli clear her name. Did we miss any clues? So, the thief took the sword from the case without picking the lock. Why is this flower petal inside the case?
I don't want to make things difficult for official Dahao. Let's do this his way and prove my innocence. If I can find that cursed sword, I can prove my innocence right away. There's something else bothering me. Why would the thief take the sword and leave the case behind? Did they melt down the sword like I wanted to? Yeah, maybe. But if the case was too much trouble, wouldn't it be too conspicuous to carry around the sword like that? In plain sight?
Who could have thought that the Miekaki Vesa would be stolen? And that the prime suspect is General Huayan's granddaughter? Regardless, we've accomplished our mission, and now it's the Cienjo's problem. By the way, why did that girl call it a cursed sword? It's quite upsetting. That's enough, young man. Now let me get something straight. On Kalevala, this sword has always been highly revered. The first master of the Miekaki Vesa slew countless demons and then passed it down to a line of wise monarchs. The monarchs would heed the guidance of the hero spirits within the sword and gain insight into defeating their enemies. What is, Helio? What? Never mind. The point is that the Mieka Kivesa did help the ancestors of Kalevala build a strong foundation. It's definitely not a cursed sword.
Yunli says she didn't steal the sword, and I am willing to believe her. But I know well that Yunli can be impulsive. So if she did steal the sword on a whim, I won't show her any favors. You were with Yunli yesterday, young man. So you have the chance to prove her innocence. Is there anything you need to ask me? No, she was still mad at me, so she didn't come by. If she had come with you, she wouldn't be a suspect right now. After the ceremony, Argenti carried the sword case, and together with the delegation, they were escorted by the Cloud Knights to the Artisanship Commission. The artisan there confirmed that the sword was safely stored. I'm counting on you, then.
It's you again. As always, there's a reward for good behavior.
Don't be nervous. Just cooperate with me like you did before.
Yes, I received your message yesterday and went to the arsenal to check on it. But when I went back this morning, all that was left was the case. I don't know anything else, so asking more questions won't help, I'm afraid. However, as the Master Artisan of the Artisanship Commission, I've got to clarify something. Even though the sword was stolen, this commission is still highly secure. Wait, no. I just remembered. My precious aromatons were smashed.
If you found any clues, feel free to tell everyone.
Thank you. But I'm not sure if I can convince Mr. Daw how.
100% sure. Fine. Let me go through my reasoning again, and you can interrupt if anything feels off. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli. Miss Yunli caused a ruckus at the Artisanship Commission trying to take away Guyun, but you stopped her in her tracks. After bidding farewell to you, Yunli pretended to leave, but snuck into the arsenal alone and stole Guyun. We haven't found any other suspects or evidence.
I found this in the crevice at the bottom of the case.
A rose petal? Huh. I must have missed it during the search. But why was there a petal inside the case?
I don't know. But I do know that wherever that Knight of Beauty goes, he always leaves behind a trail of rose petals that's almost impossible to clean up.
My thoughts are a mess. Let me sort them out. The sword case was never locked, which is evidence that only someone who delivered the sword could have done that. And the rose petal was probably left behind by that Knight of Beauty. But how did he manage to take the sword from the Artisanship Commission? Why did he steal it after returning it here? And why would he leave that petal in the case?
I know. Guyun flew out of the case on its own. The Knight of Beauty only unlocked the box to aid its escape.
Don't be ridiculous. How can a sword escape from a case on its own?
You've never seen a flying sword before?
I've only heard about the Mieka Kifesa being able to fly in legends. But even if it could fly, why would the Knight of Beauty do this?
Like I said, the sword contains a heliobus. Argenti must have been under the control of the sword. Maybe he was under its control even before you arrived on the Lofu.
Official Dahao, where can we find that knight?
Let me see. The docking location of Argenti's ship. The one and only.
Let's go. We've got to find Argenti before that sword completely takes over his mind.
Let's wait.
Stream forth, gleam of old flames.
Repay!
Trickier to crack. Time for a buzz. This is double speed.
Eternal sleep is not the end.
The dead return!
Not a scratch.
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Destined for oblivion.
Time for a buzz.
Not a scratch.
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. On the still waters of oblivion.
I underestimated you.
Destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. On the still waters of oblivion.
Time for a buzz.
How familiar. Destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Again, on the still waters of oblivion. Destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
Time for a buzz.
Receive divinity. Bloom. Repay.
The waters of oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Familiar. Destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. On the still waters of oblivion.
Time for a buzz.
Not a scratch.
Destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
I underestimated you. Nothing major.
Still waters of oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Destined for oblivion.
Nothing major.
Time for a buzz.
On the still waters of oblivion.
Time for a buzz.
Not a scratch.
Bloom.
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Familiar. still waters of oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Destined for oblivion. Another blood debt repaid.
Intuition, instinct. Training can sharpen them both. Time is slipping away fast. Need I say more? Muscle memory never lies. Need I say more? Muscle memory never lies.
Haven of memories. Every touch, every moment is like a thorned rose.
Success and failure. Can't change it.
Please stay tuned.
Sound lingers.
I've been waiting for you here for quite a while.
Knight of Beauty. You're the one who stole Guyun, right? Hand it over. You have no idea how dangerous that cursed sword is.
Dangerous? In my humble opinion, the real danger is always the hand wielding the weapon. Yes, I did. As a Drilla's knight, I've sworn to live in poverty, and I abhor theft. I had to leave behind a rose petal in order to keep my promise to Master Guyun and uphold my knightly oath.
What? What do you mean?
I agreed to assist Master Guyun in its escape from the Xianzhou. As the person who pulled it from the stone monument, captivated by its beauty, I must not let it down. I couldn't stay in the arsenal to convince the craftsman, nor did I want to take the sword like a thief. That's why I left behind a small piece of evidence that pointed to my identity in the hope of an open and honest conversation with you.
Whatever your reasons are, you're planning to take the cursed sword away from the Xianzhou. Hand it over to me!
Back then, it was the beauty of Master Guyun that impressed me. So I willingly embarked on the journey to return the sword. But unfortunately, Master Guyun's homeland is no longer the ideal place for it to return to. As a Knight of Beauty, I must not abandon it halfway.
Oh no. He's completely captivated by the power of that cursed sword. That's what makes cursed swords so scary.
Captivated? No! I am touched by Master Guyun's flawless beauty. To be honest, I'm confused why none of you can understand this sword. This is quite heartrending. I've already made up my mind to take Master Guyun away from the Xianzhou.
That cursed sword has messed with your ability to think. But I'll break you free from its grip. I'll shatter its illusion. And the sword itself.
Fair lady, if you're intent on taking away this person, this sword that is under my protection, please engage me with a fair duel according to knightly etiquette. As a representative of this duel, I, Argenti, challenge you. I swear on the spirit of chivalry, in front of Adrilla the Beauty, that I will represent Master Guyun in this duel. If I win, you will allow Master Guyun to leave the Xianzhou with me. And if you best me, Miss Yunli, I'll accept my defeat and turn Master Guyun over to you. Do you accept my challenge, Miss Yunli?
Fine. Let's see whose desire is stronger. Your desire to take it away, or my desire to hunt down all cursed swords. Show me what you've got. Is this you're not going to use Guyun to fight for victory?
Well, I know a thing or two about swordplay. In a proper duel like this, a knight should rely on the skills he's honed day and night.
You're a real weirdo.
Until everything burns to ashes! Set to the seas of flame!
There's more to life. Every petal and all will be swept away by the wind.
Slice like a good my friends. Indulge yourselves!
The mood is set. Let the show begin! Did the rhythm get messed up? Let's improvise.
Rise to the challenge.
Fight to live!
Bear witness. Let the duel commence.
Firefly Type 4 in position. Set to the seas
value, I suppose.
Confess! Put forth all your might.
Attack detected! Dreams do come true.
Joining the battle. Detonate.
We're fighting a gent.
The mood is set. Let the show begin!
Put forth all your might.
If I could do it all again.
Rise to
Take your
the
positions.
Every petal and all will be swept away by the wind.
Let's improvise.
Still unanswered.
Still the same one. Not over it yet.
Let me stay here a little longer in this body.
It's you again. As always, there's a reward for good behavior. Sound lingers.
Let's wait and see.
Will of preservation!
That's a hefty battleship.
Make your brain feel brand new. Night of Beauty. You're not going to use Guyan to fight for victory?
Well, I know a thing or two about swordplay. In a proper duel like this, a knight should rely on the skills he's honed day and night.
You're a real weirdo.
This is double speed.
You chose the wrong enemy.
Free will, or was it destiny? For oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
Confess!
So familiar.
Put forth all your might.
Time for a buzz.
I'll see you off.
Rise to the challenge.
On the still waters of oblivion.
I'm on guard.
Rise to the challenge.
Lance ablaze. Lance!
Forward!
Behold, this symbol of pure...
Time for a buzz.
Let the duel commence. Confess!
I underestimated you. Receive divinity.
Destined for oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
It's time.
Can I have fun? Time for a buzz.
Put forth all your might.
Time for a buzz.
Bear witness.
Still waters of oblivion.
Lance at the ready. Lance ablaze. Lance!
Forward! You're fighting a gentleman. Put forth all your might.
More enemies.
Rise to the challenge.
Good. This new.
Repay.
This combat needs optimizing. This is double speed.
Rise to the
You
challenge.
chose the wrong enemy.
Another journey begins. Destined for
Rise to
oblivion.
the challenge. Behold, this symbol of pure
Eternal
beauty.
sleep is not that
Dead return! The flesh wound.
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
Rise to the...
I'm on guard.
Let's I know. Put forth all your might.
nothing major.
Time for a buzz.
Still water of oblivion. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
Put forth all your might.
Lance at the ready.
Time for a buzz.
Bear witness.
Lance ablaze. Lance!
Forward! Let the duel commence.
This combat needs optimizing. This is double speed.
The flesh wound.
Free will destined for
Rise to the
oblivion.
challenge.
Time for a buzz.
I'm on guard.
Rise to the challenge. Confess.
Okay.
Good as new.
Put forth all your might.
Nothing major. Eternal sleep.
The dead return!
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
For chivalry. I've lost. According to the rules of a knight's duel, I should keep my promise and hand over the sword to you. But before I do that, I hope that you, as the winner, might have the mercy and listen to Master Guyun's past experiences.
This sword has been cursed since the day it was forged. Place it in front of me, and let me destroy it.
Do what she says, knight.
But...
You've done so much for me already. It's time for me to face her alone. I'm weary of fighting. I just want to share my past with you. To explain why I wanted to escape. After that, I'll leave my destiny in your hands. Are you afraid to witness my past, little girl?
Afraid? Well, you do have a different aura from other cursed swords. But you're just trying to use my curiosity to lure me in.
Well, you know best that a single touch won't snatch away anyone's sanity.
Fine. Show me your past.
It's already impossible to contact the main Cloud Knight forces. What awaits me will be a long and lonely war.
Follow me.
Is this your memory?
It's so cold here. I didn't feel it when I was in the thick of battle, but now it's freezing me to the bone. You're indeed a masterpiece from the Xianzhou Juming. If you hadn't taken control of my body, I probably would have been decapitated in that fight.
Quiet, and stay alert. Boris and Wolf Troopers never give up the hunt.
Hey, just relax a bit. It's been over 300 days since we were both stranded on this planet. The transmitter never rings, so I guess we can't count on that anymore. The people on this planet still use beasts to pull their carts. Obviously, there's no way they can help us fix the star skiff. Looks like we're stranded on this forsaken planet for the rest of our lives.
The rest of a Xianzhou native's life could be terribly long. Are you feeling any desperation? All by yourself in this hostile world?
Yeah, a bit. Perhaps.
When things get too rough for you to handle, just leave everything to me. No need to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah, sure. If I really can't handle things anymore, I'll leave my body to you. But now is not that time.
Do you really think you can oppose an entire Borisan army with your limited skills? What are you holding out for?
It's true that I'm stranded here, but it seems like that Borisan pack is in the same boat. By the way, Guyun, do you know what a seed is? A seed may seem insignificant, but with careful cultivation and time, it can grow into a huge, unwavering tree. You said that the rest of a Xianzhou native's life could be terribly long. You're right. That's why I intend to plant a seed named Resistance here, and nurture it for the rest of my life. I want to show the people of this land how to defend themselves against those monsters. I can already see the seed in the eyes of those people.
You really think you can do it? Why not just give me control, and we can revel in the bloodbath together?
What was the memory I just saw?
It was a memory of me and a Cloud Knight, stranded on an unfamiliar planet. We crash-landed on a planet occupied by Borisan. Just the two of us.
I can feel that it was a lonely war.
I'm alive. But all the young people in the village...
They died. They died for you. They died because of your big promises. Promising them a life free from the Borisan. I tasted their despair before death. They didn't see it coming. And neither will you.
We can't stay here. Let's move on to the next village.
Why? What's the point? You and your sorry excuse for an army have been fighting for over 3 decades, and you haven't won a single battle. What you're sowing is not resistance, but despair. This world is hopeless. It's completely infested with packs of Borisin. You've seen their numbers, and you know their methods. And those commoners you've put your hopes in, they just kneel down and worship the monsters devouring their children and families, calling them their beast masters.